Irrigation is the application of water to the land to provide adequate moisture for crop production. This practice includes the development of the water supply, the conveyance system, the method of application, and the wastewater disposal system, along with the necessary management to achieve the intended purpose. Irrigation is necessary because rainfall often does not occur at the appropriate time or is inadequate for crop needs. Rainfall distribution is seldom ideal during the growing season. In the more arid parts of the United States, rainfall during the growing season is far short of most crop needs. Even in areas of high seasonal rainfall, crops often suffer from a lack of moisture for short periods during some part of the growing season. A drought period can be defined as any number of consecutive days in which the available moisture in the soil has been so reduced by plant use and surface evaporation that plant growth and quality are adversely affected. The interval between a maximum supply of available moisture and the beginning of a drought period varies widely. This interval depends on the ability of the soil to store moisture, the rooting habits of the crop, the incidence of rainfall, and the evapotranspiration rate. Advantages of irrigation. Many benefits are obtained from the proper use of irrigation. Where lack of moisture would limit crop production, irrigation can be expected to increase crop yields, and by careful control of the amount of moisture in the soil, higher quality crops that bring higher market prices can be produced each year. For example, irrigation can be used to counteract high or low temperatures, to eliminate short droughts that reduce quality, or, by being withheld, to allow a carrying out period prior to harvest. For certain crops, particularly fruits and vegetables, the difference between profit and loss often depends on the time the crop reaches the market. Proper irrigation aids prompt germination and continuous plant growth, making it possible to regulate planting dates and time of maturity more closely. Fertilizers do not increase plant growth unless moisture is available. With irrigation, fertilizers can be made available for plant use almost immediately, and more of the fertilizer applied may be used effectively. Applying soluble fertilizers through irrigation water is a common practice. With sprinkle irrigation, this practice offers a savings in labor, requires a minimum of fertilizing equipment, and the depth of penetration can be closely controlled. High-value cash crops such as strawberries, cranberries, tomatoes, and citrus can be provided some protection from frost and freeze damage through water applications just before and during periods of freezing temperatures. Applying irrigation water immediately following transplanting greatly increases plant survival, thereby reducing costs of replacing plants. The water settles the soil into close contact with the root system. Sometimes an application is made just before transplanting if soil moisture is not up to field capacity. Efficient irrigation promotes better use of the land in accordance with its capabilities and stabilizes yields of adapted crops. Irrigation also makes possible the seeding and prompt germination of soil improvement crops at the proper time during the growing season and helps to establish vegetative cover on eroded areas. Irrigation does not necessarily ensure high crop yields and large profits. It should be used only on soils that, if properly treated and managed, are capable of producing sustained high yields of irrigated crops. These soils are indicated in irrigation guides. The water supply must be large enough to meet crop needs on the acreage to be irrigated and must be of suitable quality. The water must also be both economically accessible and legally available to the irrigator. The irrigation system must be designed to divert water from the supply source, deliver it to the irrigated area, and apply it to the crop in an amount and rate that will meet consumptive use requirements of the crop without causing erosion or other damage to the land. The design system should be practical, durable, and efficient. The addition of irrigation to a farming operation usually increases labor and capital requirements. Very often, Labor is required for irrigation at a time when other crops must be planted, cultivated, or harvested. Additional capital is required both for the initial installation of the irrigation system and the operation and maintenance of the system, at least through the first irrigation season. The best irrigation system can fail if not managed properly. In addition to the basic physical requirements, successful irrigation requires the use of good irrigation management practices. The irrigator should develop and follow a plan that specifies such practices as irrigation water management, use of adapted seed varieties of good quality in proper plant populations, fertility management, conservation cropping systems, and good cultural practices to control weeds, insects, and plant diseases. Returns must be adequate to make irrigation profitable. The increase in crop value as a result of irrigation must exceed the cost of purchasing, installing, and operating the irrigation system.